Hello, GM, everyone. Well, drop some GM in the chat. It's very good to have everyone here. Zhong, it's very good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Welcome, everyone. This is Nansen Power Hour number 14. And today I'm really excited to bring in a guest, a very important guest and someone that's very well known in the industry, and that is CoinGecko. And they are also a Nansen Points partner. And the reason we want to have this session here today is to find where Nansen and CoinGecko intersect, to share a bit about CoinGecko research and how you can use Nansen to back some of those CoinGecko insights, and to also look at the rewards available through Nansen Points Program coming from CoinGecko. So there's a lot of exciting stuff here, and if that's not exciting enough for you, we are going to be doing a Nansen subscription giveaway where we are giving away 3 1-monthly subs. If you'd like to sign up for this giveaway, there will be a QR code that will pop up, and you will be able to scan the QR code and enter the competition. So that QR code should pop up now. Yeah, you should see it in the top corner there. Perfect. So, like I said earlier, it's a very exciting session. CoinGecko is one of our first, if not our very first points partner to be joining us for the Power Hour sessions. And this is Power Hour session number 14. And we've been doing these a while, and I'm sure you've got sick of myself and Charlie speaking about Nansen. So it's great to have some fresh faces in and bring an industry leader in, because CoinGecko is known, I'm sure, by pretty much everyone in the industry. But if you don't know who CoinGecko are, they do a lot of pricing data and socials data for pretty much all cryptocurrencies in the market. And we see CoinGecko as a collaborative partner. They offer extremely important insights into the crypto ecosystem and a really valuable way to track who is where in the crypto market, to understand what cryptocurrencies fall into specific categories. And now that they have their CoinGecko research, that's also providing very valuable insights for the ecosystem. So, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Zhong. Zhong, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thanks, James. I think first off, thanks so much for inviting us for this session. It's pretty exciting when we all get together and talk about what's happening in the market today. I'm Zong. I'm the head of research here at CoinGecko, as James mentioned. I think most people know CoinGecko for our pricing and exchanges and market data, and that's what really we're the most well known for. We're sort of like the Yahoo Finance for crypto for people who don't know us, right? But in addition, I think to all the data, what my team certainly at the research and content team does is provide a lot of educational content around the market just to educate our users. And our mission is really to demystify this whole space for no matter if you're a beginner user or if you're somebody who's been here for a couple cycles, to really sort of get your hands around all the latest developments and new stuff around the market. So today, what I'm going to do is, share some of the insights that come up from our recent reports, maybe tease a few other things as well that we have out of the pipeline. But yeah, I mean, James, turning it back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Amazing. Well, again, thank you very much for joining us. And I guess you're head of research at CoinGecko. I think that's the best place for us to begin. Your research provides a lot of relevant and up to date info for anyone that's tracking the market. As you said, you're kind of like the Yahoo of the crypto market. So you guys recently, or you guys had a 2025 annual report. Do you want to share a bit about what was inside this report? What did we see in the crypto market in 2025? And yeah, what are you guys looking at CoinGecko in particular? What are you as the head of research looking at?
Yeah, I think the title of this session is is crypto center of gravity moving on chain, right? And I think it's a long report. It's like more, it's like 60 pages. So and we can put up the link and people can have a look at it. But I think what's really relevant to this is actually really we're seeing more crypto activity actually move on chain away from the sexes into the DEX space, particularly in trading. And there's just one particular slide I'll call out and I'll share in front of everyone right now, which is really the perp DEX volume, trading volume data. I think, it's no surprise, I think, if you've been following crypto for a while, or at least in the last 12, 18 months, you have heard of the name Hyperliquid, right? And that's really been driving a lot of perp DEX trading volume. And you could see from the numbers, I think, just the headline numbers, collectively they did 6.7 trillion in trading volume in 2025, and that was 4 times more than 2024. And this gave them a 7.8% share in terms of perp DEX versus perp SEX trading volume. So when I say SEX, I mean centralized exchange. Yeah. So when this is comparing top 10 to top 10, I think when we zoom out to top 15 versus top 15 perp DEX versus SEXs, we do see this trend even growing. So at the top 15 level, there's a new report that we're going to publish in a week or two that's going to say that actually the ratio right now is closer to 10% if we take in the January data. And largely is because of a couple of things, actually. So one is obviously people are getting more comfortable with Hyperliquid, and two, really because of what happened in 1010. I think when 1010 happened, a lot of traders, I think, either got liquidated on sexes, or pulled their money out of these sexes because they were afraid of those liquidation mechanisms. And we actually did see quite a visible shift, at least in terms of volume and OI, towards the perp DEXs after that event as well. And even though right now we're in February now, we see that the volume on Ester and Lighter has sort of faded away after their points program ended. But a lot of this volume didn't shift back to the centralized exchanges. Instead, they shifted more towards Hyperliquid, and because of that, they are now the most dominant perp DEX out there. And really, they're right there now in the top 8 in terms of perpetual exchanges when we rank them even amongst the sexes. So when you say top 8, it may be hard to understand, but this actually puts them ahead of somebody like Coinbase, somebody like Crypto.com, in terms of the overall sort of rankings of like perp DEXs. But it's not just like perpetuals. We're even seeing this play out in the spot markets as well. Like, I think last year you have heard a lot of talk around Binance integrating Pancake Swap to Binance Alpha, right? Bybit launching ByRail, Coinbase integrating Base App, to allow, like, introducing Base App to allow people to trade on-chain tokens. I think you see the dichotomy between, like, how quickly a centralized exchange can list tokens versus how quickly someone can just create a pool on Uniswap, for example, right? Like, we were looking at centralized exchanges, and the fastest ones out of them, they list about 1,000 tokens a year, which is about 100 tokens a month, which is already very fast. But if you look at Uniswap had pools for 15 million tokens created in 2025. So the pace of like listing, if we use that term, is certainly like what centralized exchanges are looking at. And we are seeing trading volume migrate as well. I think between the spot exchanges, about 14% of spot trading now occurs on spot DEXs. Pancake Swap and Uniswap are the two leading ones. Again, they are probably at like 8 or 9 or 9 or 10 in the overall ranking, depending on which day you look at it. But that again puts them ahead of somebody like Coinbase, somebody like OKX, the big boys that you would think about in terms of centralized exchanges. And just wanted to pause there. I think turn it back to James, and is it something that at Nansen you're seeing as well in terms of shifts in flows in sort of capital? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say, I think that was very insightful even for me. And personally, I am a fan of hearing that more volume is shifting towards hyperliquid versus centralized exchanges. I would love to see more people trading on chain. Now, maybe I'm biased because we are Nansen, and primarily we're an on-chain analytics platform, or at least that's how we began. But as you asked, we have definitely seen a shift in more traders on chain, more traders interested in hyperliquid data, in perp data. And we actually integrated perps data recently enough. And maybe I'll actually just share my screen and I'll show you a bit about like the kind of data that we have available to us. So if let's say for our smart money data. So yes, we are definitely seeing a lot more people interested in hyperliquid data. Hyperliquid for a long time was our top requested chain. Everyone was saying, we need hyperliquid data. And I often find that requests are related to where the market volume is, because at the end of the day, traders need volume, they need liquidity. And if all the volume and liquidity is moving in a certain direction, if it's moving towards hyperliquid, if it's moving towards sexes, people are going to want more data either from the sexes or hyperliquid. And hyperliquid has definitely been our top request for quite a while. And the kind of stuff that we can give users, or give our users for hyperliquid is, for example, our smart money here. This is a smart money leaderboard of all the top hyperliquid traders. And it's extremely powerful. Personally, I view this as like a search engine for smart money traders, and you can search for traders that suit your specific style. So for example, you can filter these traders by their realized and unrealized P&L, their total ROI, but more importantly, what I love, and I think these are some of the best filters, is the win rate, the number of trades, and the number of tokens traded. Because what good is a wallet at the end of the day if it trades the same token, 1,000 times a day? For me, that's not very useful, because that's too much. There's too much activity going on in that wallet. Instead, I might want to filter it down to a low enough number of trades that I might actually be able to follow them. Maybe I want to see a multitude of tokens. I want to see that they're successful across 2, 3, 4 tokens, maybe more. So yeah, I see this as extremely, extremely powerful for people that are now beginning to trade on Hyperliquid and need a source of signal. They want to build their own signal. We have the data at Nansen to do that kind of stuff. Some other stuff, you can actually now go in and view. For example, here we can see the top tokens being traded by Hyperliquid traders. And I can actually click into each of these tokens and get specifics on the perps data from Hyperliquid. So over here, you can actually see the smart money total positions. So we can see how much they have long, how much they have short. Predominantly, as we can see here, over the last while, I think this might be the last 7 days. Where do I have this? Yeah. Over the last while, we have a lot of smart money traders shorting tokens like Filecoin, which, which was a top meme coin a while ago. So what is my point here? Yes, we are absolutely seeing a lot more traders interested in Hyperliquid and shifting on chain, trading on chain. And that is why, recently enough, we actually have had a focus on integrating Hyperliquid. And one small little teaser I might add is that obviously Nansen integrated spot trading on chain in January for all of our users, but we do also plan to integrate Hyperliquid perps. So hopefully soon enough, you'll be able to seamlessly go from researching Hyperliquid data to executing on Hyperliquid all through Nansen. So that's a little bit of Nansen alpha there for you. And yeah, so any other trends? What other trends are you seeing? I know you guys have a lot of different research. For example, I think I read something about you guys had some information on your report in relation to stablecoin activity also picking up. And I think I also saw another article where over 50% of cryptocurrencies have now failed, which is pretty scary. And honestly, when I think about it, sometimes I'm surprised it's not even higher. Yeah. Any of those other kind of trends you want to talk about that are coming out of CoinGecko research?
Yeah, let's talk a bit about stablecoins. I think it's quite interesting, and I think more people are using this to look at stablecoin data primarily on the market cap perspective, right? So those are the headline numbers, right? How much market cap does Tether have? How much market cap does USDC has? And we sort of use it obviously as a sign of overall sort of market liquidity, right? When stablecoin market cap is still increasing, that means that people are generally quite confident about the market. They're injecting capital into crypto. But when you start to see stablecoin market cap go the other way, we certainly saw that back in 2022, 23. That was a sign that maybe like investors was kind of losing confidence a bit. I think the interesting thing I would say is sort of the growth of, well, one is USDE tailing off, right? So Ethena, unfortunately, was sort of a victim of 1010, and pretty much, a lot of the leverage positions off of that has unwind. And then with PYUSD actually is the other sort of interesting one where we have seen their market cap skyrocket since in Q4 last year. Yeah, not sure if you have more to add there, James, on what you're seeing on the stablecoin side on Nansen.
Yeah, I suppose on Nansen again. Let's see. A lot of what we have, like, first of all, through Nansen, you can analyze like the holders of stablecoins. You can analyze, let's say, you can track stablecoin flows. One of my favorite things, in particular for stablecoins, is actually, um, sorry, if you're someone that wants to find out who are the big players in the stablecoin space, you can actually go into our token god mode, and you can search up a stablecoin, and then you can look at its holders. But if you're someone that is looking to actively track what is happening with stablecoins in the market, what I recommend doing is setting up a smart alert. And we've actually set up a smart alerts agent, so you no longer have to create these alerts yourselves. So if I said something like, I want to track any movement, any $50 $50 million movement for stable coins, this agent will be able to set this alert up for me. I don't need to do any of the heavy lifting. It'll just ask me the questions, and it'll configure the alert, and it'll walk me through the steps on how to get set up on either Discord, Telegram, Slack. So I think there's definitely a lot of opportunity for people that are looking to track stablecoin data on Nansen. One very popular chart we have, and I do believe this is available through the API, is that if we look at this stablecoin exchange flow over the last couple of months on Ethereum specifically, stablecoins on exchanges have been dropping, which is not what we want to see. While stablecoin volumes, we're definitely seeing stablecoin volumes increase, and lots of people are using stablecoins. We're seeing a lot less stablecoins on exchanges, which obviously coincides with the bearish market that we're in. So, yeah, while it's great to see the stablecoin success, we can definitely see some characteristics in terms of stablecoin data matching the bearish market outlook. And of course, speaking about bearish market outlook, what was the article about the 50% of cryptocurrency has failed? Is this something? Is this something we should be scared about? Is it kind of, has this passed? Are we going to see this continue?
Yeah, I think let me share the page specifically, and
Yeah.
and you can throw up the link as well. I think this is quite interesting. We also publish this sort of bite-sized sort of analysis, and it generally gets quite a lot of attention, and you can see that over 50% of cryptocurrencies have failed. That's sort of the headline, and it's kind of true. but it needs to be put into the context of where we are from a market perspective, right? Um, if you look at this chart, I think this chart is a better illustration. So number of listed versus failed cryptocurrencies, you can see that there has been an exponential increase in the number of tokens that are being created, right? So we went from about 400,000 tokens in 2021, and now we created 20 million tokens in 2025, just in the course of sort of 5 years, right? And this is non-cumulative. So what has happened? Obviously, like I think everyone sort of on the call knows Pump Fund happened, right? Pump Fund sort of kicked off this whole sort of launch pad. Everyone can create a coin sort of narrative, right? And that really took off and allowed people to create a lot of coins, with just a few clicks. And that sort of drove, I guess, sort of the first few waves of massive token creation with a few clicks. And bear in mind, I think this data doesn't even include tokens that didn't graduate from Pump Fund, right? So these are data that only covers tokens that have graduated from Pump Fund. So the actual number is actually a lot larger. But clearly, if they didn't graduate, we sort of assume they're kind of dead. But I think what other people also don't realize is that with Zora, like at the end of, I guess, sort of last year, or the second half of last year, being integrated into base app, right? And there was that phase around SocialFi. Every tweet or every post on Zora was sort of like actually a token that you could trade. That also contributed significantly actually at the tail end of last year to the number of tokens being created. Throughout 2025, and I mean, the more tokens being created, the more tokens are going to be dead, right? So statistically, I think that's the case. And if you look at the number now, you'll say, oh, 20 million created, 11 million died in 25. Maybe we're at 10 million tokens. Actually, if you just go and look up Gecko Terminal, we're now at 32 million tokens, which just tells you that the pace of people creating tokens have not slowed down at all, right? Like in fact, they have just continued to go at it, even though I think the chances of success and how profitable some of this is really up for debate right now. And I think it links to one of the larger questions. I think last year, at the end of last year, right, a lot of people were saying, when is alt season coming? Are we ever going to see an alt season? Are all the altcoins going to suddenly pump together? I think certainly that is something that is no longer the case. I would say, like, because of these developments, right? Because there are 30 million tokens now that each require some level of capital, that each requires, if that is all competing fiercely for investor interest, is why we didn't see an out season, I think, pretty much in 2025 in this cycle. And certainly why I think the chances of like a coordinated out season is sort of, I think out of the picture already for moving forward, simply because there's just too many tokens fighting for limited attention and limited capital as well, frankly, right? So capital in crypto is not unlimited. And there's just so many tokens that exist. Even we are finding it, we struggle sometimes to keep track of it. I don't know, James, how at Nansen you guys are trying to keep track of some of these things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I think, I wasn't surprised to see this chart. I'm sure many people weren't. As you said, pretty much everyone knows about Pump Fund. They came around 2024. We were all just learning about what it could actually do. And then, running into 2025, we just had this, burst of token creation that made it pretty much impossible to keep up with. What I am definitely surprised is to hear that this rate of token creation has not only has it not slowed down, it's actually increasing. We seem to be making more and more and more and more tokens, which I think is, it's crazy. But maybe it's a sign of the market. Maybe it's a sign of why we are still, in this downward trajectory. as you said, each token fights for capital as a resource, and if there's not enough to go around, well then we're going to continue to go down, and we're going to continue to see 53% of tokens die. I guess one thing I will say in relation to this that maybe reflects like a similar dynamic is that we are seeing less traders succeed, let's say. So at Nansen, maybe a year ago, we had 5,000 smart money labels. And for those of you that don't know, Nansen relies heavily on labels. We have like 500 million addresses indexed and labeled. And there's a lot of different types of labels. Some of them are behavioral. And one of those labels is smart money. And from the 500 million addresses that we track, we create, we have 5,000 smart money addresses, or at least we did last year. But the number of addresses that are reaching our smart money criteria is dropping down. And we are seeing that I think our smart money address count has got closer to 4,000 now. So it's an extremely difficult market, and that's shown by like the size of our smart money pool. And I think it reflects what you guys are seeing there. One thing I've seen in myself through my own smart money setup, and maybe I can share an image here, and you can just let me know. Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay, so this is actually an image of data coming from my own smart money my own smart money alert system. So basically, I had these smart money alerts that I set up back, I think, in the end of 2024, start of 2025, and I've had them running consistently for quite a while. Now, I could only access the data from February 1st onwards. But basically, what we are looking at here is that the average amount of smart money inflows per day is about 100K. And this is, again, looking at the smart money alerts that I have set up. So every time I'm alerted, or every day is totaled. So my smart money inflows are totaled per day here based on the alerts I received. And these totals used to be like up easily in the millions. Like we're talking about 2, 3, 4, 5 million. And now they're much lower. So it is, again, it's just a sign of where the market is. As you mentioned, many tokens are dying, and we have an unlimited amount of tokens coming onto the market, which makes it much, much harder for traders to succeed because everyone is so spread out, so thin. There's a lot of competition in the market. And I think the amount of volume of smart money coming through my own alert system and powered by Nansen indicates this. It kind of backs up what you are saying. Or maybe a better way of framing it is that it's a consequence of what you are explaining. Because so many tokens are dying, because we still have so many tokens coming onto the market, traders are struggling to succeed. They're struggling to, let's say, become smart. So I think this is, it's interesting to see, the angle you guys come from. You guys are obviously doing a lot of research here, a lot of great research, and it's very nice to be able to then combine CoinGecko and Nansen. It's like you can use CoinGecko research to try and get some insights. Okay, what is happening in the market? Okay, I'm seeing what they're explaining to me, what is trending, what is actually going on in the market. A lot of tokens are dying. Okay, well, maybe how do I track that using Nansen? So there's a nice synergy here, and I do appreciate these insights that you've shared. Okay, awesome. I think what I would like to do now is, I think the best thing is to move on to a very short demo of trading through the Nansen agent. So we looked at, how we can combine CoinGecko's research with Nansen, how we can kind of use Nansen to back up CoinGecko research. What I'd like to do is show you the trading integration we had for all of our users in January, and I'll make it nice and short. And let me share my screen. Okay. So Nansen introduced trading back in January, and let me just use our new NX8 as an example. For those of you that don't know, this is a staking, an index token of the top 8 chains. So it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, BNB, Tron, Hyperliquid, Sui, and Avalanche. So all of those together in an index here that's had a nice little bounce over the last day. So hopefully the market is beginning to turn around. But anyway, focus on the trading integration. So Nansen for a long time has been known for its on-chain analytics, and we are now expanding our on-chain suite of products. So first of all, we had on-chain analytics, then we brought in on-chain staking. The evolution of the Nansen platform is to integrate trading, which we have done through our web app. But what is fantastic and what we see as a new way to trade is that we have introduced not only trading through Nansen, but vibe trading. And if you are someone that is, on the front line testing new AI products, this could be something that interests you. So I personally like it because I can research with Nansen and then immediately execute based on that research. And now I can do it all through the agent. So for example, we were talking about a lot of tokens are dying. So I'm only interested, maybe I want to play things safer. That's me. Maybe me as an individual, I have a lower risk appetite. So maybe I just want to buy Nansen NX8. And one thing I can do is I can ask the agent, hey, I want to buy $10 of NX8, and I can do this through the Nansen web chat. So what's happening here is that the agent is finding, we've insufficient sol. Okay, my bad. So let me actually try and sell NX8 because I have $10 there. Apologies now. Yes. So, apologies. I was making sure everything was fine beforehand, and I spent all of my soul on NX8. I got way too ahead of myself, way too excited. But anyway, basically, I put in the wrong. Apologies, guys. Sell $20 of NX8. Okay, there we go. So what is happening here? You are able to research through the Nansen agent, and for some reason it's not working for me right now, but it was working earlier. I'll look into this after. But basically, for anyone that's used Nansen agent before, you can use it to generate on-chain research. You can use it to get insights on tokens. You can use it to get insights on addresses. And while you're researching those addresses, if you decide that you want to buy a token, you're able to do it right through this chat interface. One of the reasons actually this trade failed is because we do have gasless transactions. We do have gasless transactions, but they have to be over a minimum threshold. And right now, I'm not meeting the minimum threshold, and that is why the trade is failing. So apologies for that. That didn't quite work out as expected. However, we can keep moving forward there. Let us move on to what a lot of people have been interested lately, which is Nansen points. So I'd like to give a shout out to CoinGecko for introducing this perk via the Nansen points program. For those of you that don't know, we have a Nansen points program where you get NXP for subscribing, for referring, for staking, trading, all these kind of activities on Nansen. And there's 4 tiers, and those 4 tiers are green, ice, north, and star. And the green tier is requires 1,000 NXP, and the ice tier requires 10,000 NXP. And if you're on the green tier, you get 10% off a 1-year analyst API coming from CoinGecko. If you're on the ice tier, you get 20% off that same 1-year analyst API from CoinGecko. So big shout out to CoinGecko. Zhong, would you like to share a bit about what is the analyst API? Let people know what they can do with it.
Yeah, sure. I think thanks, James, and we're very happy to be a partner of Nansen and be able to share to provide some of these perks. I think with the CoinGecko API, really gives you access to everything and all the data that you see on CoinGecko. With a simple API call, I think this really is for builders. Anybody who's building sort of a wallet app, even if you have a DeFi app or you're just a trader and you need real-time access to market data and even historical data. That's why you come and use our CoinGecko API. We really cover everything from market cap, on-chain trading pairs, NFT floor prices, whatever you can think of, whatever that has sort of a price and you can trade in crypto, we probably have it tracked on our site. And there are 80 plus endpoints. So there's everything for everyone. Even if you're building an AI agent, we do have things like an MCP server. We have X402 integration already as well. So all of this readily available for anyone who wants to integrate and use and stream our data.
Amazing, much appreciated. And on top of that, we do have 2 more tiers. So we mentioned the green and the ice tier. We also have the North and Star tier. So the North Star tier in the Nansen Points program requires 50,000 NXP, and the Star tier requires 250,000 NXP. And if you're in the North Star, you actually get 3 months free of the Lite API and 3 months free of CoinGecko Premium. And in the Star tier, you get 3 months free of the Lite API, but also 1 year free of CoinGecko Premium. So this is a extremely good opportunity for anyone that's in Nansen Star tier to go test out CoinGecko Premium. That's 1 year free. So, Zhong, would you like to explain a bit about CoinGecko Premium?
Yeah, CoinGecko Premium. I think firstly I want to thank everyone who's already a subscriber to CoinGecko Premium. It's every subscription matters to us, and we're always looking at ways to sort of improve everyone's premium experience. One of the things I think that people always look for is to get ad-free access across our website and our mobile app. But also right now, we have rolled out a new portfolio tracking feature where you can key in, you can put in wallet addresses, and with CoinGecko Premium, you can now move beyond the 100 wallet addresses. For those people, especially I guess people who use Nansen, you may track so many wallet addresses, right? You can actually with CoinGecko Premium go beyond the 100 wallet address limit and track as many wallet addresses as you want from our website. There's also a daily 1.2 times candy reward boost for people who collect candies. I know a lot of you do. And exclusive insights that we share from the research team via our premium newsletter. Like I said, I think we're constantly adding new perks and adding new benefits to CoinGecko Premium. It's something that's really important to us, especially this year. And looking forward to see people try it out and come use our platform.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Zhong. I appreciate all that info. And for those of you that don't know or haven't seen Nansen Points hub, you can see the Nansen Points hub here. And I'm actually just going to pop it up here. Yeah, perfect. So here is exactly where you can get the Nansen, you can redeem the CoinGecko Nansen Points rewards. So if you just come to the Points Hub in here in your Nansen account and you just click on this rewards card here, you may have to scroll through them here. You'll be able to find the CoinGecko reward and you'll be able to redeem it here. So listen, if you guys have access to this, you need to be making the most of these subscriptions, particularly if you're a star tier. That is 12 months free of CoinGecko Premium. And as Zhong said, it's extremely valuable. One thing before we begin to wrap up, I would like to go back just very quickly here. I would like to show you the agent just executing a trade very quickly, as of course I didn't have it set up correctly before. So let's say again, if you're researching what is NX8, hopefully if there's anyone out there who doesn't know what NX8 is, you will be able to search it here. So NX8, it's Nansen's tokenized layer 1 index launched in a partnership with Open Delta. So we currently hold some NX8 in my wallet here, but I do have some extra SOL. So perhaps I might like to buy $20 of NX8. We'll see here the agent should prompt me to execute the trade, and we'll be able to purchase this right through the chat here. All very smooth. So remember, gasless transactions do exist, but of course I forgot to leave some to make sure that I am crossing the minimum threshold. I believe the minimum threshold for gasless transactions is $10 to $20. And on top of that, if anyone is going to be trading, make sure you set up MFA. MFA is extremely important, and it keeps you safe while you're trading with Nansen. But this is what we see as the future of trading, these natural language interfaces where I can easily understand what a token is and easily transition into executing on that trade right there through the chat interface. Now, I just had to make up for that, as I had not had it set up properly earlier. So I appreciate you guys giving me that extra time there. Now I think it's time to go into the questions. Zhong, it's been great to have you here. I really do appreciate your time. I personally will be subscribing to CoinGecko Research. Guys, if you haven't checked out CoinGecko Research before, this is clearly something you need to do. There's a lot of valuable insights there. And if you want to be someone that keeps up with the market, this is something you need to check out. Okay, so let us see which questions are coming up first. Okay, which on-chain metric is currently giving the early signal of liquidity rotation before volume or TVL moves? That's a really interesting question. Before volume or TVL moves. Zhong, I don't know if anything springs to mind first there for you. I guess this is definitely something that Nansen should be able to answer. But Zhong, anything from your side?
I think if you're looking at spot dexes is a bit harder, but certainly I think on the perp side, actually when I look and try to judge where the perp market is, the other metric that I always look at is open interest, right? Because open interest is really an indication of where people like how much people are parking on perp dexes to sort of what do you call it? What sort of position themselves, right? And when you see open interest start to decline, that's actually I think is probably the larger warning sign for people. I think when we looked at Esther and Lighter when they were very aggressive in Q4 last year, certainly they were hovering up a lot of volume, but their open interest wasn't really that high, and that was sort of already an indication that maybe it was sort of only temporary. People were just recycling the same capital over and over again. But when you see, an exchange that can consistently garner open interest, I think that's more a sign of the sticky effect on perpetual exchanges.
That's a very good answer. And again, I'm going to back up Zhang's point here with some Nansen data, is that we actually have some open interest data for Nansen hyperliquid smart labels, which is something I'm actually personally getting ready to explore, as I'm trying to set up an open claw agent and trying to get it to trade with some Nansen data. So I'll let you guys know how I'll let you guys know how that goes. But again, it's a good example of Zhong, you're bringing a lot of good insights here with CoinGecko Research, and then we're able to dig into some of that data through Nansen. So that's again great synergy here. Okay, we can move on to the next question. Thank you very much, Zhong. With token survival rates falling, what single data filter do you trust most in 2026 to separate long-term winners from noise? That is a great question. Zhong, I feel like you're the man with the answers. What do you think? Do you have any insights here?
I think it's very challenging. I think it really depends on sort of, because crypto is so broad right now. You sort of, it's sort of hard to say, like, trying to compare, say, like a major like BTC ETH, right, versus something that is more mid cap like Hyperliquid or Uni, versus like a meme coin, right? And the crypto market, or the crypto industry is big enough right now where we are starting to see like certain coins sort of move in different direction to the majors. So for example, I think earlier this week, or last 2 weeks, BTC and all was coming down. So majors definitely, they follow the macro space a lot more. But like something like hype was actually popping off because of all the hype, pardon the pun, around HIP3, right? Because they were gathering a lot of traffic, a lot of volume and interest around their HIP3 perps, which is sort of gold trading and trading on the SPX 500. So it really depends on what tokens you're talking about. Obviously, with meme coins, then it's a totally different ball game altogether, right? Who's shouting the loudest, and if your meme coin gets picked up by Elon Musk or President Trump, it's a different ball game altogether. But yeah, I would say, like, you need to start thinking about tokens in their right segments, right? Majors will probably follow macro, and then you have the mid caps, and then sort of like the meme coins. And for each one of this, it's sort of a different thesis. Like, I think just 2 days or maybe a day ago, Uniswap pop off, right? Like Uni popped off because of their fee switch. So it's getting harder, like James mentioned, right? Like, because there's just so many tokens to make money. But I think, like, if you really focus and you really narrow your focus and research, and focus on a few good projects, suddenly, like, just putting meme coins aside, like, just focus on a few good projects, there are still space for alpha to be discovered there.
Very good. And I might build on top of what you said there. So it does, as you mentioned, it does very much depend on, are you speaking about new tokens being launched, meme coins, or are you speaking about more blue chip tokens? I feel like, because we're talking about token survival rates, I feel like this question is geared towards meme coins. So maybe from a meme coin perspective, I personally would say that realistically, there will be no single data filter. And I know that's not the ideal answer, but it's probably reality, particularly for new meme coins launching. At the end of the day, even we're not taking into account the tokens that didn't graduate from pump fund. So if we did take that into account, the failure rate probably increases even further. If we remove all of the tokens that are large caps, the failure rate of these new meme coins increases even more. So I think trying to build a strategy to pick up to win in newly launched meme coins will be extremely difficult, extremely hard. I think I personally would gear more towards, like, for my own trading strategies, I'd gear more towards building a trading strategy for tokens that are more the mid cap range. And I think if I was only able to go with one filter, again, this is going to be very boring. At that stage, I'd pick volume, and then like a slight derivative of that, or a slight subcategory of that, is volume delta, and they would be the things I would focus on personally. I think that's where I could find the most success. Again, not financial advice, but I think focusing on one single data filter would be very, very difficult for mid caps, but even more, if not impossible, for meme coins and newly launched meme coins. Again, just a personal opinion, and yeah, no financial advice, of course. Anyway, we can move on to the next question there. Is token survival more correlated with initial liquidity depth, holder distribution, or ongoing volume consistency? I guess I somewhat answered this, or I somewhat gave my answer in the last one, but I would definitely say out of these three, ongoing volume consistency. At the end of the day, I would say volume is one of the most important things. Obviously, for perps, open interest comes into play because that shows whether traders are willing to keep their positions open, and it shows that positions aren't just being wash traded. It's like I'm not just jumping in and jumping straight out. But definitely, I would say volume. Holder distribution, I would say all three are important, but for me, ongoing volume consistency. Zhong, any inputs here?
No, I agree with you. I think the single clearest sort of indicator of that a token is holding interest is volume consistency, right?
Yeah.
And ideally, you want volume actually to be going up over a longer period of time as well. It's also how we determine whether a token continues to be listed on CoinGecko or Gecko Terminal or not, right? Whether they hit a certain volume threshold, whether they are still being traded at all, in the market. And I think things like initial liquidity depth and holder distribution is good, but you can hold a token to zero. I think a lot of people hold tokens to zero, and that's not going to help you that much at the end. I think with liquidity, obviously it's going to be good if there's going to be consistent liquidity. What I would say about that is that with certain things, especially in the darker parts of crypto, there are things like honeypots and stuff like that, which gives you an illusion of liquidity, but it is actually not not yeah, it's actually a trap pretty much. So just need to be careful about those things. But certainly I think ongoing volume consistency is sort of your best metric to measure this. Whether that's going up or going down, right? When you're gonna get volume when you go either way. But at least there's volume, which means there's attention on the token itself. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely agree there. Now, I think we might take one more question. Let's see. How to use Nansen for sector rotation. Okay, very good. Let me very quickly share my
Oh,
screen. Yes. Hopefully, I can pique your interest too, and maybe you'll start using Nansen for sector rotations. Maybe we'll see a CoinGecko research piece on Nansen data. So let's see. In our home screen here, we have a feature called Token Screener. And if you remember earlier, I showed a feature that allowed you to search smart money addresses. I see this feature as allowing you to search or screen tokens. And one of the best ways to search tokens is by using this sector filter. So if you are apologies, if you are looking, like for example, recently enough, Bags FM tokens became quite popular. Maybe you're looking for a way. It's like, how do I find more of these Bags FM tokens? How do I compare them against each other in a very easy way that's very quick? I don't want to be looking at 1-2 tokens on their website at a time, comparing them. So I don't want to be on their website crawling through all these images and all these tokens side by side. I want just a list, a very concrete list, very data focused list of all their stats. You can do that here on Nansen. Now I have a smart money filter on, so I'll just turn that to all traders and we'll get a lot more results. But as you can see here, we have a lot of different sectors that you can use for sector rotation. So if you are interested in chasing sectors and trying to find the winners in those sectors, you can use Nansen data here to be able to compare these. And if you click into each one, you'll be able to dive much deeper. And these sector filters are often available in other parts of the product as well. So if we go into smart money here, top tokens, we should be able to filter by sector is in here. Oh, apologies. It looks like that filter was actually removed. I'm on Hyperliquid. here we go. So we should be able to fill by sector. If I missed it. No, apologies. It looks like we may have removed that. Apologies. So, yeah, token screener, definitely the best way to go about it. And I think, yeah, if you're looking to find sectors on Nansen, this is the way to go. So with that, we can begin to wrap it up there. I think there is one other thing I'd like to address. Yes, someone in the beginning, actually, and I promise this will be the last bit as I realize we're at time, but someone in the beginning said, I'm thinking of cancelling my subscription. I'm not sure that holding this subscription is any better than just DCAing into BTC. Tell me why I shouldn't cancel. And they asked me to think of this as a challenge rather than me ragging on your product. Personally, I like to try and answer these questions because I think it's important to answer hard questions about your product. And I think the reality is, if DCAing into Bitcoin is your ideal strategy and that's where you're going to succeed most, that is a decision that unfortunately you will have to make, and it's not myself or someone else that will be able to tell you, no, you need to use this product. Because at the end of the day, I'm never going to try and force someone to use Nansen. Nansen is extremely useful for traders and investors who want to be active in the market. The reality is, if you're someone who would rather just set DCA orders into Bitcoin over time and you don't want to be looking at things, that might be the strategy that is best for you. And I think it all depends on what your strategy is. If your strategy is just to DCA into Bitcoin over time, at the end of the day, you don't need any analytics product, or you don't need any research product. You don't need really any product. You just need your centralized exchange account and set those limit orders. So I think I would encourage you to explore some of our other Power Hour sessions to see the kind of functionality available on Nansen and see if you have a use case for that functionality, if you can see how you can trade off that data. Again, I would go back to, if you are someone and you just want to DCA into Bitcoin every month, this may not be the ideal product for you, or no product might suit you because you just want to be able to buy your Bitcoin and never touch it. Maybe in 10, 20 years time when, it's $1 million plus, which personally I can respect as well. So, yeah, that would just be my answer to that. And I just wanted to make sure that was addressed too. I wasn't just skipping over it. Anyway, Zhong, it has been a great session. I really do appreciate this. Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed this. Maybe we'll do another one again sometime. I think CoinGecko is what would we say? It's a top name in our industry, well respected by everyone. It's great that now Nansen users can get a perk, a CoinGecko perk, even in some cases a free subscription to your premium tier for a year. And I would just like to say, on behalf of Nansen, thank you very much.
No, thanks so much, James, and thanks so much to the team who's also supporting us in the back end. It's been a great conversation, and good luck to everyone. Take care. It's choppy market times out there. Stay safe. Don't do too much leverage.
Yes, absolutely. I'll back that. Don't use too much leverage and just try and survive. All right, guys.